Hello, Tinkers. So, before we begin, I want to talk about how a 3D printer works. How does a 3D printer work? Well, basically, it's a hot glue gun that spews out hot plastic that cools really quickly. You have about just a fraction of a second before it cools, and it doesn't really form to anything else. So, let's take a look at this blue work plane. That's the same thing as the print bed, what the hot plastic is going to be trying to stick to. So if the hot plastic doesn't stick at the exact right height of this blue plane here, bad things might happen. So let's talk about some basic terms that might make your print go wrong. It's possible that you might have floaters. So let's look at floaters. Notice that the floaters are in no way connected to the print bed. They are literally floating above it. So this would be the same as the printer extruder trying to spew hot plastic in a couple inches above the print bed. So by the time it actually gets down there, it's going to be hard and nothing's going to happen. That would be similar to trying to write on your paper without touching it. It's just not going to work out well for you. Now let's talk about sinkers. Sinkers, you're telling the computer, and computers are smart, but they're only as smart as you tell them to be. You're trying to tell the printer to go through the print bed and print underneath it. So it'll go down as far as it can, and then it just start vomiting plastic everywhere. So this is another way that is going to get you a failed print. It's going to waste your time, and it'll make you unhappy. So you want to avoid that. Imagine trying to write on your paper, but instead of writing on your paper, you're trying to write underneath your desk. You can still get plastic out, but your paper's not going to look good, right? So let's talk about the Goldilocks zone, the printers. So what's special about the printers? Well, looking at it, I can see that each of the letters are connected to the print bed. So at the exact right height, the plastic is coming out and it's solidifying right where it needs to be. So it's not too low, it's not too high, it's printing at just the right height. So how can we avoid floaters? How can we avoid sinkers? How can we get printers, the Goldilocks zone? Well, the key is to have perspective. So looking at perspective from the looking down on it from the bird's eye view, it looks fine. I think it can print. But as soon as I take the time to click on my screen or click on my cube view, I notice that something is not quite right. Well, looking in at the perspective, I notice that it's beneath the print bed. So some of these letters are sinkers. And then going over here, I notice that some of the letters are floating. So not only do I have floaters and sinkers in my perspective, or floaters, I also have sinkers. So this print definitely will not work. So remember in the future, you can't write on paper from floating above it. You can't make a neat paper trying to print underneath your desk. You want it to be right on the surface of the paper, right perfectly aligned at the right height, where everything looks nice and pretty, and you don't waste your time. Thanks, guys.